the Elevated Look Show, hosted by Mark Stampfly.
Oh!
All right, welcome to the show, Jimmy. Or should I say Tron Fisher?
How'd you get this? I've been wanting this episode so bad.
Oh, I can get clips of this, man. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I want to see this.
And that's exactly what he did.
I asked this guy to watch my house when I'm in the hospital, and he completely trashes my place, and he thinks he's not going to pay. Well, he's definitely going to pay.
I watched after this guy's house for 30 days for free, and now he brings me to court. What kind of friend is that?
All rise. Please remain standing and come to order. This court is now in session.
I didn't personally cast you. Like, I remember being in the casting process, but I don't remember you coming through. I think you were, AG brought you on early on, right?
Yeah.
AG Vitone?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a friend of mine.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I forgot how I even got. Somebody told me to come down there. I don't know because I know Henry.
Okay.
The
bailiff. The bailiff
So,
on the
I
show.
think he might have told me to come down there.
Okay.
And I came down there and I did one show, and they were like, "Oh man, we love you." And then I had two different shirts. So when I did the second one, they wanted me to wear the second one, the same shirt, and I didn't. I was like, "Y'all didn't tell me. You just told me to."
Oh, they wanted you to wear the same shirt you had from before?
Because they wanted, because they wanted to match the way they was gonna edit it. They wanted to match that because I messed up. Like because me and him, the judge got into it.
Yeah.
And he kicked me out. Instead of me going out the exit, I went up in the stands.
That's right. I forgot about that part.
And I was just standing there just looking at it like, man. I was like, oh man, I always wanted to see this.
I haven't watched this since back then anyway.
So
that's what's crazy. So I'm kind of catching up. I'm kind of catching up with you as well here. So it's
I
we're
thought
kind
I
of
could
building this
trust him.
together.
I realized in hindsight I made a mistake.
Okay, stop right there. Mr. Fisher.
Yes.
Mr. Tron Fisher.
Yes.
Are you a good friend of this man?
I was to Mr. Uptight and White.
No.
Derogatory or racial slurs here, sir. That will get you kicked out of my courtroom.
I'm just telling the truth.
No, you're just being derogatory, and I'm not going to stand for it.
Yes.
So let me ask you again. Are you a good friend of the plaintiff?
I was.
Okay, so what happened?
Look, he was in the hospital. He can't ride a bike, as you can tell. I watched his house. He said Mukasa, Kusasa, wherever that French word is. And I was like, all right, cool. I said, what do it mean? He said, my house is your house. So I treated his house like my house.
Which is a bunch of smoke and dirtiness and a big disaster area.
No, it wasn't a bunch of smoke. It was just, casual smoking.
Casual smoking.
Yeah.
Your Honor, my house was completely destroyed. I had to hire a cleaning company to completely sanitize, which he agreed to pay for. When I called him up, he acknowledged.
The red light.
Gentlemen, everyone needs to calm down. We're in the present moment. Let's pretend like this didn't happen 8 seconds ago. Did you agree to pay for the cleaning bills?
Nope.
Okay. Okay.
The red light, which I shouldn't.
Mr. Fisher, let me ask you something, Mr. Myers. Did you offer him any compensation for watching your house?
Nope.
Mr. Fisher.
The bailiff came.
Okay. Yes, sir. It's very easy for me to dismiss you from this court, Mr. Fisher. It's very easy. Mr. Myers.
See this.
Okay, I realize, Your Honor, I made a mistake. But that doesn't mean that I should have to pay for all of these damages.
A red light camera traffic incident.
Now, we
Yes.
don't know if that's me.
Your Honor, you can clearly see him in
It's
that
dark.
photo. He even
could
has
be
the Uber
anybody.
sign in the front.
Gentlemen.
Oh, man.
So you're saying that, oh my goodness.
Do
we have a,
the picture
for this
of you
kitchen,
on
can we
the...
put the kitchen picture
Well,
up on
see,
the
you
monitor?
can't even tell if that's me.
Oh no, this is the picture of
The house.
Now let me ask you
That's
something,
my
Mr.
kitchen. That's
Fisher.
what I came to.
Who drank all that alcohol?
Me and
It's
his
like
friends.
100
His new
not
friends, he
my
wasn't there.
I know he was in the hospital, but he knew all the bikers that was there.
No,
Everybody.
So all
I
the
didn't know.
bikers came over and made that mess.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it
why-
wasn't a mess.
That's not a mess. What's a mess to you? A hurricane?
No, that's not the mess. That's decent.
That's decent.
Yeah.
Is that what your Casa
I don't
looks
have
like?
that much. I don't have that much liquor, but he had a lot of liquor.
Mr. Fisher, when you make a mess in your house, do you clean it up?
Yeah, sometimes.
Sometimes.
But
After a month, would you clean up? Maybe make your bed?
yeah, Mom, but I didn't know when he was coming home. He didn't say.
But it had been a month. Didn't you think it was about time to maybe clean the place up?
I was Uber driving.
What,
when he
24
came
hours
home.
What
a
does that
day?
have to do with cleaning the
You
place
can.
up?
But did
If
you?
you need a lift, I can get you. I'm at 5 stars right now.
I saw the back of the car. I can't believe anybody
That's
can get in
when
there.
you get in my car, you can do anything you want to.
Obviously.
No, my
Customer's
car,
always
not your
right.
car. My car, sir.
Mr. Fisher, there's a big issue here. It's called responsibility. Anybody ever teach you about
man.
responsibility?
Yeah, Mukatsu Husatsu, the French word he
Okay,
used
you
on
can
me.
stop saying these words you don't have any understanding of.
Idiot.
I'm asking you about responsibility. What do you know about responsibility, sir?
I was responsible. I watched after his house, his ugly dog. That
Is
he
his
didn't even
dog
touch.
still alive? Did you feed
No,
him?
I couldn't even find my dog for 2 days, Your Honor. And now he won't come from underneath the bed. He's terrified. He's been traumatized by what this guy was doing there at my
The
house.
dog is ugly.
Mr. Fisher, what do you know about responsibility? It's a lot of syllables,
man.
but tell me what you know about the word.
I was responsibility of his house
Okay.
and of his car, and I had to eat, so I loved his crabs.
Okay.
And I had to drink.
Okay, you didn't have to drink his alcohol. His crabs.
It was there.
It was there, and he did say
My
to make
house is
yourself
your
at home.
house. That's what he said.
Absolutely. So you treat your house like his house, which is your house.
Right.
You treat your house that way.
Yeah.
I'm glad you got to see that, man. I actually
so
thought
happy.
that was gonna. I thought you had already seen it. I thought you had
Never
come down
seen it
to the
before.
studio for a screening, and I'm like, okay, well, this is gonna just jog your memory and be like, okay, this is something kind of fun to do on the show.
No. First time ever seeing it.
Well, that's
thought it was-
awesome. What do you think of it now
Oh, I
after
love
seeing
it.
it?
I love it.
Tell me a little bit more about like what's been going on with you since
COVID
I
done shut me
saw
down.
you. Yeah.
COVID done shut me down.
Yeah.
I'm just so happy now that, I haven't touched a mic over a year. So I just now preparing myself to go to open mics now before
Okay.
as soon as they start opening up these
Yeah, it seems like
comedy
they're
clubs
opening.
here. Yeah. So once I get, my rhythm back, because you just some people be thinking, yeah, you just can do jokes, just go straight up there. Nah, you go up there, it's a rhythm you have to have. I mean, people try to get me to do Zoom. I did one Zoom comedy show.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask you. Like, what during the whole, since COVID,
No.
what did you think of that though? Like,
I think they crazy. Anybody, because
Yeah.
comedy is like, it's like we need that feed.
Yeah.
It's not like music you can just sit here and just practice by yourself or play the piano by yourself.
You need the feedback.
You need the feedback because you saying something and you just thinking, oh, this is funny, but you don't see nobody, you don't hear nobody. So it's like, oh, you think it's funny, but people steady writing like, oh, this, and you don't see what they saying.
Sure.
And then LOL don't mean nothing.
Yeah.
And like somebody give you a blank check, but don't write on it.
Yeah, that's.
That's like,
I don't think I've watched any stand-up comedy since I've seen some of the. I know comedy right before the pandemic. Funny enough, I was really getting into going to a lot of the LA Hollywood comedy scene just because I just wanted to get a little bit more plugged into the scene. Not so much to personally do stand-up, but just because I have a lot of projects that are comedy projects, and I wanted to just get more familiar with some of the comedians that were working and. And I think the last one I went to was maybe a week or two before COVID, or everything shut down, was at the Comedy Store, and Bill Burr did a surprise appearance, and man, I mean, just the energy you get from that is just so cool.
oh yeah. You must be at the Improv.
No, Comedy Store.
Oh yeah.
Comedy Store.
He hangs there too.
Yeah. And then after the pandemic happened, I saw a lot of them kind of branding out to be these virtual stand-up performances.
Yeah.
I think they maybe did a little bit outdoor too until people complained about the mask. I think they were doing it in the park. I never went to any of those, but they were doing it in the parking lot.
Yeah,
of the
they have
store.
them they have them. Well, I didn't go. I heard, but they have them in the original room at the Comedy Store, where it's just a glass. I mean, then they had a speaker out there, but then you can stand out there and just look through a glass,
Okay.
I didn't see it, so I
Yeah.
don't know. I can't talk about it, but I
Okay.
just heard that's how he was doing it. So I don't know how it panned out. But
I don't think it
I
panned out
didn't.
pretty good.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it because shoot, you still need that energy. People
Yeah.
give me that energy. When you get
I
that
agree.
energy, you got somebody laughing, and then it makes you feel good. Then you can just say, oh, then if you rub somebody the wrong way. You say, "Oh, don't let me say this joke."
Sure,
this way.
you might be going way off on the wrong direction.
Yeah, you're saying the wrong thing.
Yeah,
and then
you have no
go,
idea.
Yeah, you have no idea when you're on this virtual, just a camera. Nobody
Mm-hmm.
knows if you're going something wrong. You know, the world now is a sensitive place now.
It is.
You can't. You know, if all of the family was about to air, it'd been canceled.
Yeah, a lot of shows. I
The
think,
Jeffersons,
canceled
yeah.
these days.
Yeah, Mom's family wouldn't be here.
So many. I mean, yeah. So
If all them
almost
shows,
all the classic light comedy shows would be canceled today.
yeah,
it's
they
kind
wouldn't
of
even came
bizarre.
on. Yeah,
You know?
but people that's 40 and older would know, like, that was just jokes.
Yeah.
That's how
exactly.
we look at it. But you take somebody that's 40 and younger, like, how can you take that? You know,
Especially even I would say like maybe 30 and younger. Like that I think that generation is more sensitive.
Yeah.
It seems. You know, yeah. I just couldn't see any of those classic shows like they'd be killed on the first pitch.
Man.
Today, right? I mean. Even like one of my favorite comedies of all time is Seinfeld, and that show, even with some of their jokes and stuff, would be, how are you gonna get some of that?
Oh yeah, that's definitely would have just been. I mean, the from the '90s shows, all them shows, they were just, man, they pushed the envelope, but we laughed at it because we knew it was a joke.
Yeah, exactly.
We laughed at it like, oh, we didn't think nothing about it.
I thought like the last domain of like freedom of speech almost was like the comedy world, which is kind of why I liked it. Is I mean, sure, there's you can offend people, but you can't if you go into that world and you're offended. Like so, you go into a comedy show and you're offended, you can leave. Like
right.
Well, like I always thought like let them say whatever they want to say, and if you're offended, just leave. Like, what's the big deal?
I just think if
don't see that person again, don't pay for the ticket.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a joke. If you can't take it, you can just leave and say, hey, I was, that's not my type.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. There's 32 football teams. I don't like the Dallas Cowboys, but that don't mean they're not a good football team.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? That's not I'm not going to sit there unless they play on my team.
Mm-hmm.
To me, I think people they want to have a say of, wherever their sexuality or their color, of like, I want to have something to say about this. They feel like, oh, I can't talk. If I'm gay, I can't say nothing about this. I can't talk about how proud I am to be gay. Or if I'm black, I can't talk about this. It just makes people, if I can't talk, then I shouldn't be able, people should be able to talk about that. Mm-hmm. And I think if it's just a joke, let the joke run. I mean, I got oh man, I got his face, short bald head, white guy, comedian. He died probably about 3 years ago. He was back in the 60s and 70s. I can't think. He's a famous guy. He does a bunch of racial jokes. But anyway, I did an interview with him. I was working in production. And I did an interview. As soon as he got out the limo, the first thing he said, hey, there's a black guy. Hide your wallet. I laughed. Everybody got scared. And I'm like, don't you know who he is?
Yeah.
This is what he do. He's known to insult people.
Yeah.
He talks about Jews. He talks about blacks. He talks about everybody.
Yep. And I think that's the key, too, is like, if you're... you could maybe, if you're making fun of one side of it, then maybe, you can kind of get offense. But if you're making fun of everything, then what's the big deal?
Right.
And but you weren't offended by what he said. Like
I laugh because I know who he is.
Yeah, exactly.
And plus, I'm a comedian, so he's a comedian, so I know this is what he did. He did it to Muhammad Ali on Johnny Carson. I mean, this is what he do.
That's what he was about, yeah.
So, but the production company was so, like, nervous because all of them were white, and they looking like, Jimmy, are you okay? I'm like, what the fuck? It was just a joke.
You're laughing.
But they were just like, we sorry.
Yeah.
It was like, what the fuck? He's a comedian. I know this. I'm a comedian.
Yeah.
So forget this production
it's
right there.
A code between comedians,
yeah,
right?
Like that's, and he didn't know I was a comedian.
Yeah. He didn't even know it.
He just comes out and says it. I mean, I'm like, man, don't you know? I feel, honored. And then he died like probably about 6 months later, and I'm like, I'm honored that this man said something. I had a chance to shake his hand and talk to him. I was honored to meet him.
So it's kind of just like, It's like a sensitivity issue, right? Just
Yeah.
people are way more sensitive these days.
Too sensitive.
Too sensitive these days, yeah.
And then if you ever looked at my comedy, I'm trying to bring that right back.
Yeah.
And so
I think a
know
lot of people like that.
Oh yeah, because
there's still there's definitely a place for that still.
Yeah.
It's just how how much friction's on the other side, where it used to maybe be pretty smooth. Now you're gonna get some flack from.
Yeah, because that's how I start almost all my shows.
Yeah.
I make sure everybody have a drink. If you don't have a drink, that's when I just mess with you for a while. And then I make everybody comfortable, and I just tell everybody these are just jokes.
So yeah, tell me a little bit about the your stand-up comedy world. Like now going forward, you said you took you've been off for ever since the lockdown in LA. Lockdown,
because I was.
Are you from LA originally?
No, I'm from Ohio. Make sure you say that, Ohio. I'm Buckeyes.
Okay.
Make sure you don't cut down.
We'll leave it in. When did you come to LA from?
I came to LA in 2010. Well,
okay.
I was on and off in 2007. So
you were what?
On and off, like coming here.
Oh, was it because of the comedy and
comedy? I was trying to get here, but
What came first? Was comedy
I've been doing comedy since 1998.
Oh wow, okay.
But
so that always came first before acting.
Yeah, so I've been on and off doing comedy because in Ohio there's not that big of a thing, and then I'm from a not small town, but not that big of a town, but it's all
medium-sized town.
Yeah.
What piqued your interest in the comedy scene to begin with?
The honest reason.
What?
The honest reason.
Yeah, the honest reason.
Well, back in '98. I got on a show called BET Comedy View.
Okay.
With me doing I did probably about 20 shows before I got selected.
Okay.
So I was very fresh and came out here to California to do this show, and I bombed. Bombed, and they still showed it.
So what? It was not when you say you did 20 shows, you mean like
stand up for
just stand up practice, not like auditions or anything.
No auditions. Just me and my friends say, man, you should go try comedy out. And I was like, all right. And I went first comedy club, and they was like, oh, you funny, come back. And I came back, so I was doing good.
Yeah.
And then finally, I did this audition for the BET Comedy View, and they sent in the tape, and they selected me. And I was like, oh, I ain't made it now. Like, man,
you're in LA.
Yeah, no, well, I wasn't in LA.
Oh, you were in
Ohio.
LA. You're still in Ohio.
Yeah,
but the show was going to shoot in LA, right?
Yeah, it shoots out here in LA. So they sent the tape in from Ohio, and I got selected. And I was like, oh man, I ain't made it. Never been out here, and this is '98. Never been out here. Like, wow. And I was just scared. And I think the scaredness, because I didn't have nobody out here with me when I came out here. Like, everybody knew each other, so I was just some outstander. And then by the time, the time zone was different. Like, they had me sitting. They came and got us like at 7 a.m.
Oh wow! And you just flown
in? Yeah, from 7 a.m. your time. So that's really 10 a.m. my time.
Okay.
I didn't get to perform till 12 a.m. California time, which is 3 a.m. my time.
Oh,
and
wow.
I've been sitting there all day.
Oh wow!
So by the time I got on stage,
he was exhausted.
I just stuttered, and it was like, this joke, and
so was it more just like the was it more about like the confidence, or like you were just completely like couldn't even remember?
I think it's confidence.
Yeah.
I think not communicating with people. Like, I like to talk to people to get
to warm up,
to be fresh. Just to be like, but when nobody's not talking to you and you just don't have nobody to talk to, I was like, oh man.
So this wasn't in front of. Was this in front of like casting directors, or
this was
in
front
audience?
Of live
audience. A live audience. So we can find this somewhere.
It's somewhere. It's just like that clip you just showed me. It's
somewhere out there.
It's somewhere out there. It just haven't came up yet. But believe me, if I get to rolling, that clip gonna come up. Like, this is when he bombed. So don't ever in your life say, don't give up.
Exactly.
He made it.
Turn it into an inspirational thing.
Yeah, that show that they're like, look what he did. He's like, it can be good now. But see, after that, I quit.
That's what I say. So that got you down, but you came back eventually.
Yeah, I came
back. So what was the motivating factor that turned it around for you?
Well, I have a close. Well, all my cousins. I have a brother, but he's like way big in age. But so me and my cousins was all close. Me and my first cousin, and so the one that was real close to me got killed on accident, and it was like it hurt me, it traumatized me. Like that was my brother.
Yeah,
like, he got took, and I just hated my city. Like, man, this is just
that was in Ohio.
Yeah, this is just not the life for me. So he died in 2007.
Oh.
So I was like, you know what? Forget this. I had property, sold the property, came out here, didn't know nobody, just kept on going back home. And I was just like, 2010, I'm here.
Yeah, you were gonna give it a shot.
And I gave it a shot.
You gave a full, you like all in at that point. You're selling your place to get over here.
I'm all in.
Yeah.
So then, trying to figure this out, and I was like, this rent is high. Like, just for one bedroom, it's $1,000. Like, $1,000, like, that's a mansion where I'm from.
Exactly, yeah.
Well,
There's
one
a lot
bedroom.
of the world, yeah.
Yeah, where I'm from in Ohio, you can get one bedroom for $350.
Wow.
In a nice
that's
neighborhood.
Amazing.
With old people, with dogs.
Yeah.
Here, you can't get that.
Oh no, not at all. Wow.
So
good for you for taking that leap of faith and getting out here and
it's been rough. I've been out here. I've been homeless at one point in time.
Oh really?
Yeah. Like I said, I got a book that I'm writing.
well, that's good though. So you're kind of going to tell that whole story.
The whole story.
What was it? What was the factor like with that? To become homeless? Like, was it just?
I was living with a meth head and didn't know it.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
And when I found out he was doing meth and breaking in people's houses, I was like,
oh, jeez.
He was a white guy, and I was like, hey, man, I have a felony. And I was like, if the police come here,
you're gonna be.
Yeah, you got all these stolen
associated with.
Yeah, I was like, you got these stolen goods. They gonna think I have a part of that, man. I'm trying to tell him, leave that stuff alone. Your friends you hang with, they're not your friends. Why would they want you to go hide and breaking people's houses? So his friends talked to him into getting rid of me. So
really?
Yeah. So they took all my stuff, put it in this garage.
Jeez.
And then when I came home from doing the open mic, they changed the locks, and I was like, what happened? And I'm like, I know I ain't that drunk. And then all the lights was out in the apartment. I was like, man, forget this. So I went over to somebody's house and stayed, and I tried to come back the next morning. Came there, he called the police on me.
What? The meth head called the police on you?
Said I was threatening him.
Oh my goodness.
And I said I was gonna move, and I was like, no. And then when they opened up the garage, they seen all my stuff.
Yeah.
So I had to leave that day.
Oh my goodness. Really? You have to? I thought because
they
call it like the rights of
30 days.
Yeah.
Go to court and all that. No, but he said I threatened him. He was threatening for his life. So
so if you say that, then you can get somebody out faster.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
But don't you have to have some sense of proof of that? Like,
no.
It's funny. Like I had a friend, who's I believe it's his cousin. It was a mess, and he ended up like crashing at at my friend's family's house with him, but he was like. I don't know exactly everything was going on with him, but he was a mess and he was causing trouble everywhere. And so they told him to leave, and then he wouldn't leave. He wouldn't leave the family's house. He's like, no, I'm staying. And it was a huge argument, and the guy who was staying there, he called the cops. He called the cops and said, they're trying to kick me out, but I know my rights.
Right.
And he ended up being able to stay there for, I think, at least a month.
Yeah, because
and they hated him. They saw him walking in the house, and they're like, what is going on? Eating their food?
Yeah, one piece of mail there, you can say you live there.
Oh.
Yeah, so I left, and it was my pride, too. My pride didn't want to tell nobody they had nowhere to go.
Yeah.
So I was on the streets for about 3 weeks until one of my friends was like, hey, man, you don't seem the same. I was like,
yeah.
And I finally told him and his wife let me stay at their house. Then I just felt uncomfortable sleeping on their couch. I'm a grown man.
Yeah.
Sleeping on this. So I just got up and left, and they was mad that I left. Like, nah, I find something. Then I ended up finding another friend, and it was like 4 of them sleeping in a 3-bedroom apartment, and I just moved in there with them. And I was like, whew, I can't do this.
Yeah, that's a wild ride.
Yeah.
Did you get any like government assistance? Like you think there'd be some kind of
I wouldn't. There again.
thing?
My pride. Like I
Okay.
should be able to get out here. I have 2 feet to hand. I should be able to work.
Okay. Well,
Find
that's
some
good.
kind of
That's a
job.
good attitude to have.
Like
A
some
lot-
kind of job
Yep.
out here to get me paid.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I believe in. That's just something I
Good for you.
People
Yeah.
like, oh, you should do this. I'm like, well, that's wrong. Where government now,
Mm-hmm.
like people just want to live off of that,
Yeah.
and then you get weak, and then you just sit there and you get
You're
sad.
depending on
Yeah.
you're completely dependent on either the government or something else. You're not really making it on your own,
Right.
And that's probably a third. You were actually one of the homeless that was just down on your luck. Like that,
Right.
there are those people out there, and I feel really bad for those people,
Right.
versus the ones who
Just
are
wanna-
just no,
Yeah, like no, I'm just gonna live off this. Hey,
Yep.
I get $238 every 2 weeks. Like,
Yep. There's those, or even some of the from what I've heard of people, even begging on the streets, like making enough money, like I don't have any need to do anything else. I'm making like $500 a week just begging on the street.
Yeah.
So they're not gonna do anything. And they're not paying taxes with that money.
Yeah, because I found out here in LA with the homeless people, like where I'm from in Ohio, they homeless. They really just
They really are just down your luck.
They down
homeless.
their luck. They just want to do drugs. That's it.
Okay.
I ain't seen some of these homeless people. You give them a couple ducks, and they get into a BMW or a Mazda or something, a car better than yours. You be like, wait a minute.
Yeah, what happened there?
I was feeling bad, and I gave you $5 at least to get 5 for 5. Like,
yeah, exactly.
I gave you gas money.
Yeah, that's pretty messed up. That's probably one of the places in the world, that LA or Southern California, where you'd actually have like rich beggars.
Yeah, rich homeless people. Like that's their hustle.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, it's gotten crazy. I mean, it's gotten ever since COVID. It's got the homeless situation's gotten definitely more out of control. There was a whole like tent city. I don't know if you heard about. Like, I don't know if you did when you came here. Did you come down Wilshire?
No, but I've been down to what's that
Like
downtown?
Skid Row?
Yeah, I've been down there.
Yeah, that's a whole nother.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother thing. But
I live in Hollywood,
Okay.
But they pushed them away. Some of them's going away because they building all this stuff around there.
You know what my theory on, like, because I actually haven't been really down to Hollywood much since COVID happened, but I heard from people that was like, I'm like, yeah, you're living there, but what about the homeless? And they're like, there really isn't that much. And I think part of it is because my theory is because it's so closed down, there's not a lot of traffic for them to get money, beg for money.
But no, they cleaning up.
Oh, they're just cleaning the whole thing up too.
To build new apartments. Like, I just don't understand that. Like,
are you like in like Hollywood?
I call it like, I'm on Sunset.
Oh, okay,
Sunset and between Sunset and Normandy. So
okay.
it's like or Hollywood.
That's one of the east.
Normandy. Yeah, east. It's like little Armenian.
Yeah.
Like, I'm right by the Scientologies. Like,
Okay.
I see them every day, and they, hey, I didn't bring them a beer and everything. No. Like, if I can have this in there, I'll go in there. They be looking at me like, so now they don't even mess with me.
So that's the key.
That's
not
the
getting
key
pulled
thing.
into the cold.
Yeah, just give them a beer or ask them for, do y'all smoke weed? Yeah, they would not mess with you ever again.
That's funny. That's funny.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they tried to pull me in there one time.
They
That's when I
almost
was
got
walking.
me. No, they almost got me
Because they
when I
don't really
first-
tell you, right, what it is. They're just
No,
like,
they're
hey,
like,
you want to
do a
check
test?
this?
Yeah, they like, they were like, you want to do a stress test? That's what they, and I was like, I didn't know where it
Man,
was.
that's
That's when I
very
first got here.
manipulative.
So I'm just used to back home that Christmas, Lord Jesus, and all that. I'm used to that to get you in the church. And I was like, he had the little no shirt and tie, polo shirt on. And I was like, you want to do a stress test? I'm like, yeah. I was like, wait a minute, let me call my mom back. And because I never heard of Scientology until I moved out here.
Okay.
So I was like, Mom, you ever heard of this Scientology? I was like, she's like, nah, what is that? She's like, I don't know. She's like, wait a minute. And so my mom, old school, so she went to a dictionary and looked this up. So she don't believe in Googling stuff.
Okay.
So she looked that stuff up.
Straight to
She's
the
like, boy,
dictionary.
get away from them. I'm like, what?
They said that in the dictionary?
It just tells you about their beliefs.
Oh, interesting.
I was like, oh, forget this. All right, I'm like, I'm cool, guys. I'm just cool.
Yeah.
And so I just start watching them, like, man. So
Just bring a beer.
yeah. So I just, bring them beer because, like, when I walk up my door, I'm like really seeing them.
Okay.
And I mean, they got the buses. They got, their homes that they got.
Is this the big? Is this the
right
big
there?
one?
The big
huge one, right?
They got their apartments right there. They got everything. Then it's right.
They
by
own a
the
lot of
hospital.
real estate, from what I heard. I think I watched that. Was it on Showtime or HBO? The Going Clear, and they were talking about how much real estate they own, and a lot of it's empty. Like, but they have the Church of Scientology owns a ton of real estate.
Yeah, I heard.
Yeah. They get a lot of money. Is there anything, like any projects or anything you've been up to in the meantime, or are you kind of, or what else are you kind of looking forward to doing or preparing to do now that things are opening up? I mean, we're getting pretty close.
Okay, so what I've been doing, finally, I have me a writing partner that's been helping me out to learn how to write scripts. So I have 4 movie scripts that I'm trying to pitch to people. Okay. So I'm hoping to meet somebody to help me get this production off the ground.
Feature film, TV,
feature film. Okay. 4. I got. All you gotta do is say, "Hey, you want to see it? I'll give you the deck. If you like the deck, you'll go to the script."
Oh, you have a deck ready too.
Oh, I got everything.
Oh, awesome. Very cool.
I have a deck. I just need somebody to pitch it to. Somebody who got the money to produce it.
Okay. Are these all comedy projects or?
The one I'm really pushing right now is more health. It's mental health.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Like a drama?
Yeah, it was mental health. I had also, before the cousin got killed, I had another cousin that killed herself.
Oh, jeez.
And I was with him. I dropped him off.
Oh my goodness.
And it showed.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, you've been through some stuff.
Yeah. So he showed no signs, and we were just laughing, giggling.
That's crazy.
And I watched him walk dead in the door.
Jeez.
And
Yeah,
within 30 minutes of me leaving him, going back to my house, I get a phone call saying he has pulled the trigger on himself. I'm like, nah.
Like what? Yeah, what? Like it's weird how that sometimes people are just
mess with me because it was like, why didn't he say nothing? But we giggled all the time, like the whole time we was out.
Like you couldn't tell like his attitude or mood was off or anything. Even it was just.
And it messed with me for like years.
Yeah, that would mess with anybody.
Yeah, couldn't. I mean, I was like, man, I just kept on playing the day over and over. Like, what, did he say something? Did
he try to give you like a? That's what I'd be thinking. Like, did you try to give me a hint that something was? But I don't know. I mean, you can't really. Yeah, you can't. They can only blame themselves. I mean, they made the decision. So.
And he was the kind of guy that he'll help you show off his back. You see no signs of nobody could have said, "Oh yeah, I seen this coming."
Wow. Yeah,
that's why I got this movie that I wrote called No Letter, No Note that I want to push for mental health because you don't have to. To me, you don't have to be gay. You don't have to go through all kinds of other childhood memories. You could be a normal person. It's just something that you're not telling.
Yeah, that's true.
And and you be the nicest guy and nobody would know.
Yep.
Yeah. It's all to yourself.
And that's kind of a good. That sounds great. Like just to kind of get the message out that you should communicate if you are dealing with something. Yeah. Like reach out for help. You know, I think a lot of people keep it.
And then people,
like it is pride. I think a lot of times people are thinking that they don't want to bother their family, their friends, or
they don't
whatever,
exactly.
They don't want to be teased, or they're like embarrassed by whatever they're dealing with. But it's better to communicate.
Yeah, so that's why
get help.
That's the one I'm pushing more, and then the other are comedy.
The other ones are all comedies then.
So, but I'm really pushing this one because I really want some people. I want that to be like one of the things I do out here to push people to go see help because. Me going through that as a, just the cousin, like, you don't know what you did to me.
Yeah, exactly.
Dropping you off. Like, I'm still alive, so I'm still dealing with this. Like, anytime somebody, that's what I always tell my family, like, hey, if something going with you, we got 3 hours difference. Pick up the phone and call me. Yeah.
My perspective was like, it's one of the most selfish acts you can do.
Yes, it is.
Because you're affecting everybody around. You're only thinking of yourself, and you're not thinking at all about the repercussions of your family and friends in that
Right.
situation. Not to live with that forever.
Right.
So yeah, that's always kind of been my philosophy on that.
Mine too.
Yeah.
I believe, he
Yeah.
was selfish. I mean, you should have at least talked about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But he didn't want to talk.
Yeah.
He would never thought.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, dropped him off. Hey, all right, see you.
Jeez.
And
Yeah,
30 minutes later, the phone call came. I was like, nah. I was like, nah.
Yeah, you wouldn't believe it.
Yeah.
You'd be like shell shocked, right? You just
Yeah.
saw him like a few minutes ago.
Yeah, like, nah. It just like, it just took me off.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I said that what made me come out here when the other cousin died, that's when I was like, mentally like, oh man, I just gotta leave this city.
Gotcha. And so then that triggered the full. That was when the full move to LA happened.
Went to New York.
Or New York and then LA.
Then when I was like, I don't want to act, they were like, well, Broadway? I was like, nah, movies and TV. They were like, that's not really here. You gotta go to LA. I'm like, that's far. I could drive. It's only 8.5 hours.
Yeah, if you're like, I'm not feeling it, you can get right back home. But
Yeah.
not from LA. You're taking a flight.
Yeah.
Well, tell me, are you excited to get back into the stand-up comedy? Is that coming up soon? Do you have anything?
No
lining
shows.
up?
No shows lined up. But I want to get my rhythm back. So I've been sitting here writing new materials, trying to get over it. Now I'm hitting these little open mics. Getting comics.
So you are actually going to open mics right now? Okay,
so where
that's
the comics at? So get the feedback from the comics. Hopefully, I get some good feedback. I say within a month or two, I should be able to be back out there.
How much, like, pre-COVID, how much were you, how much, like, was stand-up a part of your life? Were you, like...
like almost every day.
Every day you were doing stand-up?
If I was working a job, if I go work a job, probably 9-10 hours, I'll go, as soon as I get it off, to an open mic somewhere.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
Or I have a show somewhere on that weekend. Like, I was trying to pump myself. So, almost every day.
Okay. So you're going to be back to that as soon as you kind of find your rhythm, kind of easing your way in, kind of like like a practice, practicing summer practice before you
just can't go out there and shoot your shot.
Season. Yeah.
Be like I was on BET.
Yeah. We're going to have to find that someday. Have to talk to somebody over.
Yeah, it's going to come out, believe me.
I'm sure they have it archived somewhere.
Yeah, it's somewhere. It's somewhere it's going to come out.
What was the name of the show?
BET Comic View.
Comic View, okay.
1998.
1998, okay.
I still have my letter. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's funny. All right. Well, any other like projects or any other things you want anyone to know about, or if they want to learn more about you or follow you, or where you're going to be performing?
Well, I'm not big on the social media, so I'm trying to get into that. Like, I'm not into. I like to do skits, but I want to do skits for TV, which nobody really do. But they want to do skits for Instagram. So get me on the Instagram, because that's what now producers and all that, they go look at your, instead of looking at your talent, to me they go look at your Instagram. So if you, or your Facebook, if you don't have 5,000 followers, if you don't have 10,000 followers, like, they're not really gonna listen to you, because they don't. It's not back to me. It's like producers don't look for the talent; they just look for them numbers, and them numbers I heard sometimes can be fake. But
yeah, that's true too. I think I don't think it's like a deal breaker, but I think it definitely influences, like, if you have somebody, especially if they're on the same level. Yeah. So if they're like, okay, we both like both of these guys, but who do we want to go with? And then they see somebody has like 50,000 followers, and then somebody has like 100. They're gonna be like, well, this person has a pretty big audience already. Let's take this person.
And this is the take I took on this. I did this. I ain't gonna say the name of the comic club, because they might not let me come back.
Yeah.
But this girl, we had to bring some people. They wanted at least you bring 6 people. So I was like, okay. I only brought 4. This girl brought 20 people.
Oh wow.
20 people. I'm like, wow.
What's normal? I don't really know, like, in that.
They always want 10 people, or at least 4 or 6.
4 is like the minimum. Like, if you're bringing less than 4, they're like,
yeah. So I try to stay away from them shows, because you got so many comics up there. If you bring, like, if I tell you to come and you here to see me, it might be 15 comics, and you're gonna go through 10 minutes of each comic, and you don't know where I land at. So you gotta think, if you're sitting there with a date, or if your wife or whoever you with, and I'm number 12, you done seen 10 comics, and what if they not no good? And you're not gonna keep on spending on drinks, and you're not having a good time. So when I tell you to come, it's 5 comics.
Okay. So it's and you're getting more time, I'm guessing too, right?
You get 15 minutes of it, and then you know, hey, you prepared, you can have a date. Because my thing is, when you bring a date, the best way, that's a deal breaker if it's your first date. You know what I'm saying? Because if the person is funny, then you and that girl or whoever the date, y'all can always go well. It's gonna go well.
It's a good first date location.
Yeah, because y'all can talk about it. Oh, you remember he said this? Oh, that was funny. You know, hey, but if you have 20 comics there, and you gotta sit there like, oh, I'm ready to go.
But yeah, that's pretty cool though that you're doing. At least then, people that want to see you are getting to see you and see you more time, and so that's great. You should consider also doing TikTok.
Yeah,
TikTok's really good.
TikTok is the devil. If you, I'll tell you right now. I just got in TikTok 2 weeks ago.
Because you could be posting something just like something funny. You know,
if you got a girlfriend or if you got a mate, do not look at TikTok. Because I just got in there 2 weeks and I have not seen one ugly girl yet. And they got all these challenges and showing everything. And I'm looking like, man, like I was looking at the middle of the night. And I was with a female friend and she was looking like, what are you looking at? I was like, oh, nothing. So I had to pretend like I had to go to the bathroom.
A lot of dancing videos.
A lot of dancing videos, bikini videos. Like, I had to go to the bathroom because I got obsessed with it. And she was thinking I was in there doing number 2. She was like, you know, there's some spray under there.
You're on your TikTok.
Yeah, I'm just looking at TikTok, like looking at these girls like, golly, this hitting every heart that I can just get. So I'm looking like, man, let me get off this TikTok right now.
But you haven't made a TikTok yet.
No, I haven't made one TikTok.
You really should. Because here's the thing, too, that like, I think what's going to happen with that, and I think it's slowly happening, is it's like Instagram. When Instagram started, like, it was for photographers. It was just, but now everybody's on there.
Right.
And there's every kind of thing you can imagine. And I think that's going to eventually happen with TikTok, and it's still early on where, you know, you can post a video and have no followers, no anything, and you're getting a few hundred views.
You're right.
Maybe thousands. And thank you for coming on the show. It's been a pleasure to have you here and catch up. And
I gotta thank you for letting me see that clip.
I'm glad I could show you that. It was great stuff.
Man.
That's it for this week's episode. Thanks for watching the Elevated Look Show, and we would really, really appreciate if you leave a review and subscribe.